Or is there something going on that, maybe one day they're going to declare martial law and basically tell the population that we're going to be invaded by hostiles or something? It's all these weird things, I keep hearing from people that email me all this stuff. And it's strange the way it's going. And it just makes me wonder, like they're talking, so much about the wall. Now our president today says we got to look at building up the grid system. Remember, you heard me talking on my show numerous times about the grid.
Because that is important. I'm going to tell you something. The grid system shuts down by a big solar flare for 2-3 years. Listen, our governments and countries will implode. It'll be like the zombie apocalypse. Believe it.
Well, now they're using the word China, Iran, and Russia, North Korea. Detonate a nuclear bomb 300 miles above Earth, 200 miles above Earth. And in the news today, hang on one sec. I had a cough. I didn't want people to hear that. In the news, they ran that today, that he's asking Congress, to maybe fund to do research, what we have to do to protect us, because they came to the conclusion, if that happened, okay, we're not going to have no electricity.
No.
Okay. The military depends on us, the civil, the people who are non-military, to transport their, hardware. Okay. They also come to the conclusion, ready for this? Vehicles aren't going to run.
Oh, no, they won't. They'll shut clear down because vehicles will not run. You will not have no phones, no cell phones. You will not have, you won't have nothing. It'd be like instantly becoming like 1800.
Oh, yeah. That's what it said. And it's not it won't be a fast recovery. Okay, so basically the military will be disarrayed, so they won't be able to function. The government will not be able to function. You won't be able to get food.
Nope. There'll be starvation, famine, and disease will break out like rampant.
Oh, yeah. Now, if that happened, they were only talking about, how the effect would be, like how big a nuke, how many miles up. It might only take out part of the country, or it could take out the United States and South America all at one time.
Depends on the fallout and the trade winds, and there's a lot of factors involved.
It won't kill you, and it won't be fallout from that distance. But what it is this basically to shut down the country totally and put us back in the 1870s, 1860s.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. Not a lot of people can live like that, especially not today. They can't do it.
No, hey, that means no watching TV, no cooking on the stove. Oh, wow. And how many people, seriously, could fend for themselves? How many people actually can go out there and start a fire without a match?
Exactly. I could take my glasses and use the sun and start a fire, but a lot of people don't know that. How many people will be able to survive without their head looking down at a phone?
Well, look at this. How long is it going to take before the stores are all out of food, right? We don't have enough farms really to, raise enough cattle if something like that happened. And how about food in general?
Oh, yeah. Listen, that will be a nightmare.
Yeah. How many people will die? Millions. Tens of millions.
Actually, all told, worldwide, probably.
No, we're not talking worldwide. We're talking
just our country.
Our country and maybe Mexico. And maybe part of Canada, depending, again, if it's at 300 miles up, 200 miles up, 100 mile up detonation of a nuclear device.
Yeah, that's, if we got 300 million, I would say at least probably 200 million, maybe more. Most of the population can't handle it. And even the ones that can handle it, disease would be so rampant, it will take over. It'd just be awful.
Well, put it this way, what are they going to do at the hospital? They don't have nothing to, you think about all these different things. And then what happens when the food starts going? Well, you're going to go out in the forest and go hunting? Hey, the lucky people can do that. But how many people are going to be thinking about doing that? And there isn't enough wildlife anymore to support the amount of people there is.
Nope, there sure isn't. You're exactly right on that one, too.
Yeah, your parakeet might taste good after about 3 or 4 days of no food.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Oh, boy. Yeah, that'll give you nightmares right there. So, yeah, those are serious things.
So, when it comes down to ETs, if they wanted to destroy our planet, they don't have to, there's so many different ways they could just take us out.
All they could do is put one of their bugs in our water system around the world, and we'd be dead. That's it.
Oh, yeah. And again, I was reading on the news this morning, there's a new super bug infection that, they've been warning for years. People, you go to the dentist, right? Or you go to the doctor because you got a cold, right? So they give you antibiotics, right? And you go buy your steak, right? And you cook it. It's full of antibiotics. So the humans now are getting resistant to almost all antibiotics that we have. Now there's this new strain of bug, which that a few people have already been dying of, that it comes on, that even with every antibiotic they could pump into you, you're dead within a couple of days, and that is scary. And that is something, they're worried about it spreading.
Yeah, and another scary thought, look at all the astronauts that have been into space since the 60s, even today. And the human body's got a lot of bugs and stuff on it. Look at those over the years. Some of those bugs have mutated and become so strong in space, and maybe they've come back. And if they grabbed hold here, now it would be what they call a super bug. What would we do? That's a scary thought, too.
Yeah, well, that's all the things. Isn't that to be all different topics, right, of doing a talk show? I mean, there's so many things people got to, be aware of. And, the news media isn't covering it. They're covering more political than ever. I mean, I go...
Right, and that you're talking about that solar flare. We had one in the 1870s or 80s, but it didn't affect us then like now, because if we had that same one we had back then, today, it would be, who knows, 2 years shut down, 3 years, like you were talking about.
Or more than that, because by then, the vast amount of the population will cease to exist. Isn't that a good way to conquer a country nowadays? You don't have to go nuke them.
Nope.
Why would you want to go nuke a country, right? You can actually just detonate a bomb above that country, right? And then you can go in there, right? Because there's no radiation. After a little while, I mean, you can conquer a country really fast.
Yeah, real quick. And here's the other thing. After a period of time, you break those people's will to live because they don't have nothing.
Yeah, well, yes, seriously. You know what? The statistics, 3 months after something like that would happen, half the population in the United States would be gone.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt that at all. At all. Because people will be turning on people. People will be dying. A disease running rampant. It will be a full-on, I know it won't be a zombie apocalypse, but it'd be that same kind of chaos. Awful. Crime will go through the roof. It'd be just like Purge on steroids.
Oh, you mean the Mad Max scenario?
Oh, well, yeah, you'd be begging for a Mad Max scenario. That would be tame compared to what this would be, I think.
Yeah. So that's all the things that we have to worry about. So, again, are we going to be involved with an alien race? Is there going to be a war? Is something maybe before elections? Are they going to declare martial law and say that there's a threat of being invaded from where? Or who knows? It's just so interesting right now. I can't go on James' Facebook without almost every third posting. It's about UFOs or aliens.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's everywhere. There's so much food for fodder for talk shows and paranormal and UFOs. It's like there's no end to it. You're right. Every other one or every third one or whatever, yeah.
Oh, by the way, McDonald's is a place where America goes and eats. But you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, and I know that Kevin is going to say something about that one too. But I don't care. I can honestly say that, there's a lot of strange things going on. And any disclosure that's going to come out, if it isn't coming from the actual government, any disclosure you have it coming out will probably be what I'm going to say. Disinformation. Yeah, disinformation.
And then there's disinformation on disinformation. So it's like mind-boggling. How do you cipher through? And that's what they do, though. They give you so much disinformation, and even disinformation on disinformation, they leave you confused. So while you're confused, the real stuff's going on, and it went by you.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary. It's just so many things going on. The amount of UFO abductions has gone way up in the last year or so. UFO sightings have gone up, and, they've been reported by some very, very credible people in law enforcement, government officials, judges, attorneys, doctors, people that are very credible, that hold, credible jobs are reporting these things. So what is going on? Are we, has that been that many sightings in the past that maybe were kept from us? Or is it just something is going on where we're being visited more than ever?
I think it's both. I think the visitations have actually went up a lot more. Plus, we're also on top of that, we're in a day and age where almost every citizen has a camera in their pocket or hand at all times, or a recorder or some kind of device. So that amps up it adds more to it also. And I think there is more. So you add all that together, the numbers are going to go way up, you would think the odds that someday, like supposedly that in Roswell, one of them UFOs crashed, you would think someday a lightning strike one during daylight and it will crash in a populated area or something would go wrong, or, you would think the odds of something going wrong somewhere, and then boom, there it is.
Well, maybe it has happened in certain areas of the world. Again, we don't know. They wouldn't tell us.
No. They wouldn't tell us. Nope.
I mean,
we'd be lost. No.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, Brazil and even Russia, you know what? The Russian news media tells their people, every time there's a sighting of UFOs and they describe it and all that stuff. And we don't do that.
No, we don't do it because we're more cynical. We want technology that start wars and stuff. That's why.
I don't know.
I don't either.
That's crazy. I mean, it seems like I don't know. We should understand right now that what's going on is not healthy. And I think we're going to go to a point that there's going to be no return shortly.
Well, that's the thing. And then there's this factor that a lot of people aren't thinking about. You have the human mental condition, people's mentality and their mental health. All these are factors, too, with all these scenarios that a lot of people aren't thinking about, too.
Well, I don't know. I just kind of, I've had some people, and I'm not mentioning names, but they think that if an alien species came down and introduced themselves, that the American and the world population would accept it. I disagree. I keep thinking about Orson Welles, The War of the Worlds, okay? The people that tuned in 2 minutes late didn't hear the disclosure that this is a radio play, but they heard all the stuff that these alien Martians are coming through towns and killing people and destroying and leaving, rubble behind them, right? And a lot of people panicked. Okay?
Yeah, they're hearing sirens in a small town, and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, it just zapped Joe down here at the corner market," and people bought into that.
Oh yeah, Concrete, Washington was the area that about the same time that play was going on, they lost their power, and people were listening to that radio play, and all of a sudden the power went out. Well, could you imagine?
Wow.
Let's put it this way. Back then, the people were a lot more naive than they are because they didn't have the internet. They didn't have TV. All they
had was the radio. That's all they had.
They had. Now, could you imagine yourself, right? You're hearing this radio play, but you don't know it's a radio play, right? and all of a sudden your power goes out. What would you think?
Yeah.